Thanks for clicking on the video, and here on our Mimic, we are going to go over a classic Fantastic Four issue, number 5. This is the one featuring the first appearance of Dr. Doom. Want to learn a little bit more about Dr. Doom, Emma?
Sure.
Great. But what we're going to do is show you how the reprints are done and what technique would be better. Let me explain. So Fantastic Four issue number 5 is this one here, and I don't actually have the real issue. If I did, I would be very ecstatic. It was before I was even born, but it was published in 1961. This is a modern reprint. This book of masterwork came out in 2003. And we'll just flip to issue 5. And this is where they first introduced Dr. Doom. And Dr. Doom does have some of the tropes that he is known for, such as this mask. He got injured when he was doing an experiment combining science and magic. And here he has his mask on. And he does try to kidnap the Fantastic Four because he deems them to be the biggest threat to his machinations of controlling and ruling the world. And he takes them to a castle here. It doesn't say that it's his home country of Latvia. It doesn't actually name it specifically, but it does have that look. And in this story, he takes the Fantastic Four and he actually transports them through time to the pirate era to take some treasures of Blackbeard, which are apparently jewels from Merlin. And he wants their magical power. So that is the story there. And it turns out in this story, the Thing disguises himself like this, and he actually ends up being the pirate known as Blackbeard because of his fantastical brutality and strength. So that is a cool twist in the story. Suffice to say, the Fantastic Four does acquire this chest that contains the magical gems, but they decide to dump the gems into the ocean, so Dr. Doom doesn't acquire them, but they do have a side fear that Namor might pick them up later in the future. They take this chest. Dr. Doom transports them back to the future. The Thing actually wants to stay in the past to be a cool pirate, but they do not allow him to do so, and then bring him back to the present time. Dr. Doom is upset that they tricked him, and they have a battle. Suffice to say, the Fantastic Four win. He tries to escape on with a rocket pack, but the Human Torch chases him down. And basically, he still ends up escaping because the Human Torch can't keep his flame on long enough. So that is basically the story there. So what I want to do here is show you this reprint here with a coloration. And I am going to use a page earlier in the story, this one here. Apologies, you hear my voice going in and out. That's because I've been sick recently. I was reading this old comic series, preparing myself for the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. And looking at this one page, it really struck me that this guy has a black suit on. And usually in the comics back in the day, they did present a lot of color. And color for the comics was added after the art was done. And they used these color templates to put swaths of color on the pages. And they had a limited amount of color palettes to use because of the printing techniques back then. It was a lot of colors, sort of like dot matrix, rather than modern day where you could just click and fill in the this whole space with color. So I thought, does this guy really have a black suit? Let me find out. And so I do have this in the library, and I showed off some of these before in the past, and I'll do a more complete retrospective in the future. But these are pocket paperback books that feature reprints of comics. And this came out in 1977. Let's see. Yeah, 1977. And the comic came out in 61. When I was a kid, it was a little bit more difficult to convince my parents to buy comic books, but to buy a paperback, well, that was a lot easier. So too bad I didn't have the comics back then. I'm sure they'd be worth quite a bit. But this contains reprints of 1 through 6. So let's find number 5 here, which is towards the back. I'm going to find that same page represented here. And you can see that the printing is very small as the page is shrunken down. But I always thought the color in these books were quite well done. And you can see the coloration here compared to the modern 2003 reprinting. You can see it is a little different. You can see here there is a larger yellow splash. This one is smaller. Okay, there is a purple background, same purple background. You can see the flame is depicted here differently. Here is a longer yellow streak. There's no yellow streak here. But look at the guy with a suit. See, it's a brown suit. And this one is a pure black suit. So I thought this, when I was buying it as a kid, was the exact same coloration as the original comic book. Obviously, I didn't have the original issue 5 to compare, but I thought out of curiosity, what would it really be like? Is it the same? So let's find out. I mean, this came out a decade or 15 years later, and did they use the same art templates? Because this paper they're printed on, it's relatively the same. It has a little bit of cream color, and when they adjusted the color for the comic books, they took into account that the paper has a color as well. So the modern reprints, they're printed on basically almost a pure white paper. And so if they copied this, the colors would look a little off compared to the original comic book. So here is the cover of the original Fantastic Four that someone has scanned in. And then here is the same page from the original comic book. So let's zoom in here, and you can see that in the original comic book, the suit is the same color. So that made me think, okay, maybe it is actually the same color templates, but if you look higher up here at the flame, you can see it's a little bit different. Now, this part does have a little yellow right here, but this has a little yellow to the curve, and this actually does not. You can also see the splash here is a little bit larger in a different shape than the yellow splash here. So the coloration here is not exactly the same, but it's much, much closer to the original than the modern reprint. Now, this is just one page as example. I went through the book, and there are multiple other examples that this matches the coloration of the original better. So pretty cool that it is a better match that I have here in the library. I always thought these books were pretty fantastic, and hopefully my kids get a treat reading these in the future. So that is a quick little comparison between a reprint done in 1977 and a reprint done in 2003. Welcome to the channel where we munch on multiple nerdy things from board games to Dungeons & Dragons, comic books to toys, video games on Saturdays, and gamer snacks on Sundays. We also do monthly giveaways, and this is our giveaway for the month of April. It is a number of family weight board games. So I'll put a link down below how you can win this cool prize. And if you're watching this from the future, you can click our main channel page to see our current giveaway. And if you enjoyed the video you're about to watch, hopefully consider hitting that like and subscribe. It's free to you and helps us out on the channel. Thank you for watching. In regards to this pocket book, I think there was only one Fantastic Four. For the other characters like Hulk and Doctor Strange, they came out with 2 of them. For Spider-Man, they have 3 of them. And I think that's all they did. It was a very short-lived series. And then Marvel did their own illustrated book series, but unfortunately those are all black and white and not in color. So it's just a very cool collectible to still have in the library here. Thanks for watching, everyone, and keep on adventuring out there.